Greetings, brothers. Welcome to the Blood Angels Commander channel.
You know, I wasn't going to start the stream with the intro of me walking around in Scotland, but someone in the chat was being very nasty about Scottish traditional wear, so I thought that's how I'd start the stream tonight. Good evening, everybody. Hello, Bear. I'm not going to say hello to you, Todd. How dare you? Hello, Ryan. Hello, DTM. Furnos, hello. Alex, hello. Jim, what's happening? Zacharis, good evening. Good evening. What's happening, everybody? Let's get into some army lists. I think I've got a few to look through tonight. And I was working on Assault Intercessors last night. I did find a bunch of Assault Intercessors pieces, so I do think that I can. I do think I have enough Assault Intercessors to like make. I think I can make 15 of them with jump packs. I don't know why I'm making so many, but just am. Robert, hello. First live Blood Angels. Hello, Robert. Todd's on the naughty list, yeah. Alex got a shipping notification for his Blood Angels Commander t-shirt. There we go, Alex. So that is interesting. Cool. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. I don't actually know if these live streams. Yeah, do you know what? These live streams need to be updated to include the link to the store. Okay. I'm gonna do that right now because honestly, I have a brain like a sieve. If I if I finish my stream and don't do that, then I'll not do it for next week. So give me 2 seconds, and I'll put a link to the Blood Angels Commander store. I'll put it in chat for anyone that's missed it yet. Quite a few people have bought stuff from the Blood Angels Commander store. I must admit, I appreciate you guys supporting the channel. And if you do buy something from the store, I'd love to see a photo of you wearing it or something like that, right? Put it in the Discord room. Tag yourself or whatnot. Phil did it. Phil might be the only person actually who's put a picture of his t-shirt into the store. Okay, let's start. Let me just move this a tiny bit so it doesn't overlap. Yeah, cool. Okay, we're going to start with Zacharis. He's in the chat, so I may as well start with his list. Cool. He is running Sons of Sanguinius with a captain, a Judicaear, a Sanguinary Priest with Visage of Death. You've got the double Impulsor. You've got 6 Blade Guard. You've got 1 Company Hero squad. Look at this legend running Company Hero. Zacharis must know a thing or two about Blood Angels if he's running Company Heroes. We've got the Death Company Marines. We've got the double Inceptors. We've got a squad of Infiltrators. We've got a Repulsor Executioner. We've got double Scouts. We've got 10 Vanguard Veterans, and we've got Khalid Assassin. Okay, I mean, all the units are good. The one thing I'm a little bit concerned about is, like, I did say the best way to get them, or I want to say the best way to get the most out of Sons of Sanguinius is like 12 or 1300 points of melee combat. This list has quite a lot of non-melee combat units, right? 260 Inceptors, the Executioner. Do you know what? It's maybe not too bad actually because you don't have any. Apart from the Executioner, you don't have any other tanks. Okay, maybe that's okay. The one thing to say about an Executioner though is a single Executioner is actually quite hard to play. Thanks, Terrence. My day's been going well. I've been chilling out. I got some. My wife took the kids out to a birthday party. I managed to dodge that for 2 hours. So I had 2 hours of my own. So I listed a ton of clothes on eBay that I don't wear anymore. So I mean, I guess that was exciting. But no, it's happy. I want to buy some new shirts. So I'm selling all my old shirts and my old clothes. I don't wear hoodies anymore. So I'm selling hoodies and stuff like that to buy shirts. So that was the exciting point of my day, Terrence. I hope you had a good day. Robert's just getting started all over again with Blood Angels after retiring and moving to the Philippines a year ago. Oh, a year ago, back in America, I have about 30 years of Blood Angels collecting. Well, welcome back, Robert. I had a long break myself, right? Like a 10-year break from Warhammer 40,000. Have you got... How big is Games Workshop in the Philippines? Like, is there actual official Games Workshop stores, or do you have to go to third party? What John is going out of... Yeah, I honestly... So I moved in this house like 2.5 years ago, JT Money. I think it was about 2.5 years ago. It was October 2022, so actually it's almost coming up to 3 years. And I have loads of hoodies that I've literally never worn since I moved in the house. Like 10 hoodies. So I'm selling all... I'm keeping one. I'm keeping one that's like somewhat waterproof. Because sometimes in Scotland it rains. I'm going to sell the other 9. I already sold... Like, one already went... I put it on eBay earlier. It sold already, so that's good. Okay, so we got the Captain with the Company Heroes. We got the Judiciar with the Blade Guard. I guess we could have guessed those. Sanguinary Priest with the Vanguard Vets. The Blade Guard and the Company Heroes are in the transports. So Blade Guard in one impulsor... Company Heroes another impulsor. The Death Company are the rapid ingress option. Brilliant. Who's leading the Death Company, by the way? You should really lead this Death Company, dude. You should lead him with... You got 3 choices, right? A Chaplain, Astaroth, or Lamartez. You should lead this Death Company, 100%. So you need to change something to make that. The Executioner is a big old slab of armor to provide some hitting for strength 10 and incidental fire to deal with hordes. I've run an Executioner a couple of times. You might be better off with like a Gladiator Lancer, and then a Gladiator Lancer is 80 points less, which would pretty much give you the points for including the Chaplain to lead the Death Company. Executioners are hard to play, man, because they kind of want you to stay still, so you get the +1 to hit from heavies, but most people will try and avoid the Executioner's firing lanes. So... It might work if you run 2 Executioners, but I've had a few games where I've run a single Executioner and I really didn't like it. I don't think anything about the vehicle is that bad, though, right? Like, it looks cost-effective, it's pretty durable. The Heavy Laser Destroyer is actually literally the best laser cannon that Space Marines can have. But I think in practice it's just hard to play. This is my opinion. Double Scouts with a bunch of combat knives or close combat weapons... Chainswords, some with combat knives is good. The shotguns are not as important anymore. You could probably just put more combat knives on them. You've got the Vanguard Veteran Squad of 10. You've got the Double Inceptors, which is pretty good for pressure. Yeah, I mean, the big thing that I don't like about your list is you need to be leading the Death Company. Every unit you attach to the Death Company is amazing. The Chaplain giving them permanent +1 to wound is great. Astaroth giving them OC and Dev wound potential is great. Lamartez giving them -1 damage is great. Tweak your list and fix that. Everything else is fine. You could tweak out this Executioner into something else, like a Lancer. Predator Destructors are really quite decent at the moment. Ballistic Dreadnoughts are potentially okay as well. And I guess if you needed a little bit more points, yeah, Visage of Death I think is a very low value pick. If you're not familiar with Visage of Death, I'm not really familiar with it because I don't run the Sons of Sanguinius Detachment all that much. 15 points to half the objective control of enemy infantry in range of this unit. I think it's super minor. I would take the 15 points. So if I was you, I would probably lose the Executioner, replace it with a Gladiator Lancer, take the 15 points, and then get myself a Chaplain to get someone to lead that Death Company. I think it's the biggest improvement that you can make on this list. Quick question from Thom. I am wondering, how should I run my Scouts? Combat knives or shotguns? My opinion is knives, 100%. At the tournament I was just at, the one that I won, all my Scouts ran with knives. The Sergeant had a chainsword, everybody else had knives. The knives gives you an extra attack. The attack's at strength 6. You can also get lethal hits and lance on it. You're much better off having all your Scouts with knives, in my opinion. But some people still swear by the sniper rifle and missile launcher. But I've played so many games where that sniper rifle and missile launcher have done nothing. So I just prefer to go for knives. Because, like, if I'm playing against Eldar or something, I was playing against Eldar a few weeks ago and they jumped in on me with, like, a bunch of warp spiders. and my scouts, it was actually my scouts that just murdered them. And then in the tournament I was at, I played against Eldar again. My scouts murdered a bunch of jet bikes just because of the knives. So yeah, I think what I would do is, well, if I, like, at the moment I am running scouts and I am 100% using knives in all of them. Except the sergeant, because he gets a better weapon, but I think his weapon options are literally only a chainsword. Scouts are going to do very little damage on shooting, whereas they actually can do some damage, because I think they get 3 attacks each. So it's 4 attacks on the charge with a combat knife. So you get 16 lethal lance potentially on those scouts. Yeah. And then you get the 5 from the chainsword. So the scouts get 21 strength 6 hits. It's good. I think 21 strength 6 hits feels much better than like a single crack missile. And yeah, you wouldn't be losing all those hits, of course, to take a crack missile. But like, when you only have 1 shot from a crack missile, usually you miss. Or usually you hit and then you fail to wound. Very rarely does it ever feel impactful. Whereas, like, there's been a few times where the scouts have done just enough damage to, like, wipe a unit because they've all got knives. Alright, let's move on to McFatson. He has the second list submitted for this week. He is got a Blood Angels list. Yeah, I am taking submissions. For anyone that's new to the channel that wants to get their list on the show, at the end of the stream, when the stream ends, I guess you can no longer use the live chat. So when the stream ends, just put your list into the comment section and I will look at the comment section before next week and pick some of those lists to get on the show. I mean, it's not like I ignore people. Everybody eventually gets on the show. It's just like an order of priority, right? So drop your list on and we'll get you on the show. And if you do get 2 seconds throughout the show, please consider hitting the like button. It helps me out loads. Hello, McFatson. All right, let's rip McFatson's list apart, because here he is in the chat. He is a captain in Terminator armor with a relic and a Stormbolter. He's a chaplain with a jump pack, Crozius, and a hand flamer. Interesting choice on the hand flamer. I usually always swap out the bolt pistol on the chaplain, but I always swap out for a power fist, right? Because this is kind of the same thing with the combat knives, is like, if you swap out for a hand flamer, you get D6 hand flamer shots. But when you run into like a really tough opponent that's like a tank or has toughness 8 or above, having the option of a strength 10 power fist with -2 and 2 damage hitting on 2s is actually really it's really useful. We've got Ballistus Dreadnought, we've got 10 Death Company Marines, 10 power fist, 10 hand flamers. I guess maybe you play against a lot of hordes. I'll read your comments in a second. Not many people run the hand flamers. Most people run the infernal pistols, but detachment, Sons of Spaghetti. Okay. Alright, McFatson. We're on to you. You got 5 Infernus Marines, you got 5 Scouts with chainswords and combat knives, you got 5 Vanguard Veterans with heavy bolter and 2 combi weapons. Vanguard Veterans are an interesting choice. We really don't see them very much in Blood Angels. You got 5 Terminators with power weapons and an assault cannon. You'd be better removing that assault cannon, I think, and taking the Cyclone missile launcher. Statistically, that assault cannon is going to do 1 devastating wound per turn, because it only gets 6 shots. You only hit on 3s, so it's actually going to do less than 1 devastating wound per turn. So I think the crack missile of the assault cannon is a better option. I also think you don't really need the power weapon on the Sergeant. You just want... Blood Angels with Terminator is going to benefit the most if everyone's just got a chain fist. So you're looking to sell convert Terminator stuff. I want more Jumpy Boys. Which of the other 3 units should be worth considering? If it helps, I have a Jump Captain and a couple of Sanguinary Priests on the shelf. So the best unit to lead the Terminators with is the Terminator Librarian. I made that precise video a few weeks back showing that the Terminator Librarian has the most potential damage buff output, and he's got a survivability buff, and he has good range damage potential for the Terminators as well. So I think you want to consider getting a Librarian with Terminator armor. I wonder if you can pick those up cheap on eBay, because there was like an easy build version, right? Librarian in Terminator armor, because it was like a maybe not an easy build version, Oh look, yeah, here's one for $5. The guy's charging $6 post. That does not cost $6 to post that. That guy's ripping people off that don't realise the postage. It literally costs like £2, £3 just. So here's one, $8, no bids, $3.50 post. So you can get this guy for probably like a tenner. I mean, tenner, buy it now. Tenner with no bids. This is the guy from the Leviathan set, I imagine, because he's on it. Look, here's one with bids. Ending in less than 24 hours. That means there's only a day left on bidding, and it's down to is bidding for £1. So this one might, yeah. So I would get this Librarian and Terminator armor, not this particular one, but they must be. They must be. What's the word I'm looking for? Abundant enough that they're selling on eBay pretty cheap, right? Because a lot of people got those in. The Terminator Captain is a little better in Terminators now since you can rapid ingress for free. I think if most people are doing rapid ingress DTM, it's like a plan to. I think if I had the choice of a Captain doing rapid ingress for free, or a Terminator Librarian rapid ingressing for 1 CP, I think I would still pick the Librarian. I think the damage buff he gives is just significant enough to make it happen. I guess if you've got all those jump packs with power fists, it's probably fine. Your chaplain doesn't have the power fist, but I do think it is better to have the power fist on the chaplain. Here, like I was playing against Votan and they used that strat, so it's like -1 AP against my melee unit. So when they use that ignore 1 AP, void armor, your chaplain literally has no AP. So like you're hitting with that Crozius with 0 AP, and that feels kind of terrible. So that's why I like having the power fist, probably, or one of the reasons to like having a power fist. Alright, here's a Blood Angels list. It's mostly me throwing together units from I have a mix of Leviathan and some secondhand picking up, trying to make something playable without having to buy more plastic right away. So this is playable, I guess, but I think that the Infernus Marines and the Stern Guard are the two units that stand out to me as the weakest. I would get Infiltrators to replace one of these two units as soon as possible, and I'd probably replace one of the others with either Assault Intercessors with jump packs or Outriders. I think in 1,000 points, I think Outriders are fine. I think Assault Intercessors with jump packs are pretty good as well. Lots of people are making them, and I think Assault Intercessors with jump packs, or I was going to say they might be able to be picked up on eBay. But yeah, a Captain and Librarian armor would be, and if you've already got some of Leviathan, then maybe you have that. Sorry, not the Captain Terminator armor, the Librarian with Terminator armor. Watch my video from a few weeks ago, man, about the Librarian. Like usually, I was going to say, oh, Valrak's live. That's not where I want to go. Yeah, it is. Usually, if you come over to my channel and click playlists, there's a playlist with like click tactics there. Greetings, friends. And then like all the tactics videos are here. And I think you can actually click tactics there. There might be a better way to get to this. But then you can search and sort. And like, you know, Terminators, who to lead them, Blood Angels. Usually if you're thinking about something, you'd literally come here and go Control F, Terminators. Has John made any videos on Terminators? Yes. Here's the one about who to lead them. Has John made any video on Sanguinary Guard? Yes. Here's the videos, right? So that would help. That would help you. But yeah, I think Infiltrators, if you don't have any Infiltrators, I would get some of those soon. If you don't have any Assault Intercessors with jump packs, I would get some of them soon as well. I think they're very staple. They work very well in lots of Blood Angels lists. Let me catch up on chat. I got an unbuilt Terminator Librarian, but he's a part Chaos conversion. We'll convert him back to the Blood Angels. You don't want to be running Chaos stuff anyway. I run the Chaplain with the Terminators as well. Feel no pain against mortals help, and Terminators do what they do better. I think the Librarian is still a better choice than the Chaplain. I know the Chaplain is nice with the Feel no pain against mortals, but I think the Librarian gives both survivability and damage output. Tim, I missed your chat. I agree, John, with the Scouts. I'm a Black Templars player, and I never run the sniper rifle in my 2 Scout squads again. I'm a shotgun guy on Scouts. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind shotguns, Tim, on Scouts, but yeah, the amount of times I ran the sniper rifle and just did nothing seemed counter useful, I guess. GTM says, don't listen to McFatson, the Chaos Gods have cookies. Okay, alright, let's jump into Phil's list. Phil's running First Company Task Force. Interesting. Okay, let's run through the list and let's see what he said. We've got Chaplain in Terminator Armor, we've got Dante, we've got a Librarian in Terminator Armor. Look, Phil watched my video about Terminators, there you go. We've got a Lieutenant in Reaver Armor, we've got a Sanguinary Priest with the Jump Pack and the Fear Made Manifest aura. Fear Made Manifest. I'm going to have to read up on what the hell Fear Made Manifest is. It sounds like a Battle Shock style thing. Fear Made Manifest. Okay. I've still never played First Company, I must admit. I didn't think their detachment seemed all that exciting. First Company Task Force. 30 points. While an enemy unit is within 6 of the bearers, each time that unit fails a battle check, 1 or more models is destroyed. Okay. Once per battle, when such an enemy fails a battle shock, you can choose D3 models in that unit to be destroyed. Oh wow, that's an interesting one. Failing battle shock just makes you lose models. Wow, I haven't seen that before. Okay, this is going to be some quirky list from Phil. So first game of Blood Angels last night with this list. Double mission. Delayed reserves and scramblers. Felt so bad I also quit. Then I landed round 3. Got an 11-inch charge and tabled him. Okay. Okay, McPatson. Thank you so much for the $10. That sounds... See, that's the thing. Never quit, man. I don't know if you watched the video that I did against Votan last week or whatnot, but like, I was... what was that? I was 20 points behind going into turn 5. 20. Not many games can swing more than 20 points in turn 5. But I was so determined, having lost to Gav a bunch of times before, that I was like, I'm going to fight. My mentality usually is, I will fight you. You know the bit from the Winston Churchill speech, like from World War II, and he's like, we'll fight them on the beaches, we'll fight them, you know. It's just like, why give up, man? You know, fight to the very last dice roll. It's a dice-based game. You know, you could roll hot in turn 4 and 5.
McFatson donated $10 via Super
it's worth
Chat.
it.
Sent game of BA last night with this list. Double mission allayed reserves and scramblers. Felt so bad I also quit. Then I landed round 3, raw dogged it with 11-inch charges, and tabled him round...
Exactly, 11-inch charges happen, 12-inch charges happen. I think I won a game on stream a few weeks ago where I had to make a 12-inch charge on the last turn. Maybe it was a bit longer than a few weeks ago now, but I actually said to my opponent, you tell me if I can make this if it's a 12. And he was like, yeah, you can make that if it's a 12. Bang, there's the 12. Win the game. You know? That happens. That happens. Don't give up. Never give up. Have fun until the last dice. Right. Ballistus Dreadnought. 2 little squads of Blade Guard. A squad of Eradicators, and it's a 6. Squad of Infiltrators. Double Predator Annihilator. I don't mind Annihilators. I just think Destructors are more versatile. You've got the Reavers. You've got the Terminator Assault Squad. You've got a regular Terminator Squad. And then you've got 10 Vanguard Vets. So the reason to take Terminators and Vanguard Vets is they get that bonus from this First Company detachment. There's a couple of interesting strats for them. So let's see what Phil says. This is an odd one, but it's something I wanted to test. Dante and a Priest with Vanguard Veterans, the Chaplain with the Assault Terminators, the Librarian with the Shooting Terminators. It makes sense to put the Librarian with the Shooting Terminators because he's got a buff that helps them both in shooting and in melee. The enhancement on the Priest makes it so that every time a model within 6 fails a battle shock test, that unit destroys 1 model and once per game you can make it D3. Dante, Reavers, and the Assault Terminators all force battle shot tests. Alright, this is some quirky nonsense. So Dante is going to force battle shot tests, Reavers are going to force those battle shot tests. If the enemy fail any of those battle shot tests, but it's only within 6 of the Priest, they'll lose a model. Yeah, it is gimmicky, as all hell. Hold on. Can I just read that strat again? Oh, it's excluding monsters and vehicles. I was going to be like, if this includes monsters and vehicles, that's going to be some crazy stuff. No, okay. So like swarms, mounted, beasts, infantry. So you are very gimmicky at this point, Phil. I think this is just me making an excuse to use the first company detachment. Yeah, I mean, I think you do need a good excuse to use that detachment. There's strats that let you sticky objectives. They put Terminators back into reserve. You get +1 to hit and +1 to wound if below half strength. -1 damage from incoming attacks, and force battle shot testing your opponent's command phase, possibly triggering Fear Made Manifest even more. The tricks can be avoided by skilled players, but it could force someone out of their normal game plan if they're too focused on avoiding it, maybe. It's a fun, quirky list outside the norm. I think if First Company had any sort of decent... I feel like if they had any sort of decent army detachment rules, the word I'm looking for, then it might be okay, but they literally, their detachment rule is a once per battle. Oath of Moment lets you reroll wounds as well. I think their detachment rule stinks. I honestly think they should just throw this in the bin, extremist level threat, and just replace it with something else. Because it's absolute garbage and no one plays First Company. No one else only gets their detachment rule in one turn. Even the orcs, even those bully boy orcs who get that, they get a second why, right? Like, I don't know why. No one's playing First Company. I assume it's not that strong. This is a quirky thing that only works against certain infantry, beast, monsters, armies. The units in themselves are not too bad. Vanguard Veterans with Dante is fine. Annihilators are kind of fine. Eradicators... Ballistus Dreadnoughts, Blade Guard, but I have no idea how this detachment plays out. I mean, it feels like you have to cobble together a few things, and I'm not really sure where the synergy is, and there's no overall detachment. There's no overall detachment theme, so I'm really not a fan of it, Phil. I think you'd be better off focusing on Sons of Sanguinius, but yeah, I mean, having 3 or 4 ways to make the opponent's battle shock, but realistically, how often do people fail battle shock? Less than 50% of the time? So a third of the time, they lose one model? I really don't see it as being that strong whatsoever. Someone in the chat can disagree with me. Fernos says, just starting out taking notes, bought the medium starter set and got the librarian sprues. Next step, of course, is to increase the army. Rumours are rumours, but should I wait for a possible update or buy CP? What the hell is CP? Sorry, Fernos. Oh, a combat patrol. That's probably what it is. I would probably stay away from the combat patrol for Blood Angels, right? What's in the combat patrol at the moment? Welcome to the channel, by the way. Welcome to the faction. Is it? It's this one, right? Is that the one? So an impulsor is pretty good. Infiltrators are also pretty good. Intercessors are not the greatest, but what is this? Does it actually say the model, like? Here we go. Is it 15? Just tell me what's in it. I don't want to see a guy. Okay, so it's 5 infiltrators. It's 5 intercessors, it's an impulsor, it's librarian, and it's aggressors. So aggressors get very little play in the Sons of Sanguinius detachment. Aggressors have they've ping-ponged from being a good unit to a bad unit for a couple of years now. At the moment, they are probably classed as a bad unit for Sons of Sanguinius, so we don't see them much. Infiltrators, I think these are incursors, but I think they can be built as infiltrators or incursors. Build them as infiltrators. Infiltrators are like needed in everybody's list. Use them all the time. Impulsors are really good for Blood Angels. Regular intercessors don't get too much play, but all you would need to do is find a few chainswords here. See how the one guy's got a bolt pistol and chainsword? If you could make all 5 of them with bolt pistols and chainswords, then they would be almost perfect for a play. I was going to say, if I was going to be starting Blood Angels, I'd probably pick up a squad of infiltrators. And then I'd probably pick up some other I would buy Primaris stuff at the moment, because, yeah, apparently some new stuff's coming out in the next month, right? Space Marines, Blood Angels. I mean, the other thing you could do is buy Dante, right? Like, Dante is going to be very useful, and he's Primaris, so you could also buy Mephisto, and he's not that good at the moment, but he probably will become good at some point. What else they got kicking around here? So, a kill team, Phobos strike team. What the hell is this? I think the Phobos strike team is basically an infiltrators kit. So you could buy those. You could buy Blade Guard. They're pretty useful. They do get play. Assault intercessors do get play. Assault intercessors with jump packs also get play. I was going to say, I run Outriders. Actually, kind of like them. So there's enough things that you could run that are safe. Anything that I mentioned right now is pretty safe. I'd buy any of that. That'll let you increase your forces. Alright, Alexander. But like, if you are struggling what to buy, if you want to leave me a specific comment in a YouTube video about, hey, I'm thinking of buying these 3 units, I could easily reply and say yes, no on each one, not a problem. Or even better, jump in our Discord, man. There's if you're new to Blood Angels, we have a Discord with, like, I actually don't even know how to check how many people are in Discord, but I'd be surprised if it's not 1,000 at this point. So people there will give you loads of advice as well, right? Okay, we're going to look at Alexander, who has a Sons of Sanguinius list next. He's got a captain in Gravis armor, he's got a captain, and he's got Lamartes. He's got assault intercessors and an impulsor. There you go, there's your impulsor. Captain plus assault intercessors inside an impulsor is pretty good. He's actually running the 6 aggressors, okay. Then you've got the 2 squads of assault intercessors with jump packs. We've got 2 ballistas dreadnoughts. We've got 10 Death Company Infernal Pistol Power Fists. We've got 2 units of Inceptors. There's your Outriders as well. Repulsors and Scouts. Oh yeah, you could buy Scouts as well. Scouts are pretty good right now. So single repulsor, probably inside the single repulsor is probably going to be the aggressors. Let's see what it says. Okay, this is the first list I'm building. The last game of 40k I played was 3rd edition. Wow! Okay, you've been gone for a while, Alex. I really love the Gravis armor models and I wanted to incorporate them. Gravis armor is pretty useful, right? Like, if you're wearing Gravis armor, you're pretty durable. I took a Blood Angels list to GT way back. I think it was like last November or something. And it had like a 22 Gravis Marines in it or something. Yeah, it was this. It was this. This is what it looked like. Can I zoom in on that? So this was the list I took to a GT, which was like heavy intercessors, so that's 5. Inceptors, so that's 3. Aggressors with the captain and the biologist, so that's another 8, and then 6 eradicators. So I had 6, 8 is 14, 21. No, 22 Gravis Marines in this list, and you're not as fast, I guess, as you can do it for Blood Angels. You're more than welcome for the answer, dude. No problem. But I mean, Gravis Marines are toughness 6 with 3 wounds a pop. So they're very good against 2 damage weapons. And they're... do I ever go to RTT events? Yeah, I have gone to RTTs in the past. I prefer GTs, though. I prefer the 2-day events. I just don't get them very often, Brian, because I've got a 2-year-old and I've got a 4-year-old. And for example, like tonight, my wife was out, so the stream started 10 minutes late because I got to get the kids to bed and stuff. So it's hard for me to go to too many events, I guess. But I would have loved to go to another event right now, especially with how strong Blood Angels are. A lot of people are saying that they're like top tier, right? So you've got the Captain of the Aggressors in the Impulsor, you've got the Captain of the Assault Intercessors in the... Sorry, the Captain of the Aggressors in the Repulsor, the Captain of the Assault Intercessors in the Impulsor. You could easily switch those to company heroes, both ways is fine. You've got the Inceptors to blow out their backfield. What was it, 2 squads of Inceptors? With Plasmas, yeah, I think that's the right choice. You've got Scouts, Outriders for side objectives. What was it? 1 unit of Outriders, 1 unit of Scouts, 2 units of Assault Intercessors with jump packs, yeah. So you've got some scoring units that could do the side ingress. You're going to rapid ingress your Death Company with Lamartes. This is a pretty decent list, and you've got the Repulsor to push forward. Probably just going to go sit on the middle objective with the 6 aggressors and the captain inside. There could be an argument to say that the captain in Gravis armor might be better being a biologist, right? Like, what does a captain in Captain with Gravis armor gives you like the free stratagem, whereas the apothecary biologist just gives you lethal hits all the time. So the apothecary gives you lethal hits all the time, and if this model's unit destroys an enemy unit and is a result of a melee attack, you could definitely destroy enemies with melee attacks when every Gravis Marine in this squad would have a Power Fist. You become OC 9 on your biologist. Whereas the Captain in Gravis is OC 1, you get the free strat. When attacks allocated to him specifically, it's half damage. Yeah, because I think you get the lethal hits in both shooting and melee combat. And what were your aggressors? They were Flamestorm aggressors. Okay, so you don't get quite as much bang for your buck because they're Flamer aggressors and they're auto-hitting and you can't roll to hit, so you don't get the lethal hits. But, yeah. I think a biologist here would be better, just to give lethal hits to the aggressors. Remember, I mean, I guess they maybe don't need lethal hits because their weapons are twin linked, but I would probably take him just because of the OC change. Like, 3 OC means that squad is 9 OC by default. If you ever kill a unit in melee, then suddenly that squad's like 15 OC or something. I'd probably take the biologist over the Gravis captain. I think that's a better option. I think if you've got points for both, you usually should take. Oh, I suppose DTM saying you could use. Yeah, okay, maybe the captain is better. I guess if you need to save points, if you need to make changes elsewhere, I guess that he would be a good candidate to change. Double Ballista Spread Dreadnought is fine. I like running the Predator Destructors though, so like 1 Ballista Dreadnought, 1 Predator Destructor is pretty good as well. Or I kind of wanted to play the Repulsor since they dropped it to 180 points, and I guess it's a good way to transport those aggressors. So I think this list is overall somewhat decent. I could see myself playing something like this. I don't quite like double... I was going to say, so double Dreadnought, double Inceptor is getting expensive, like 540 points, plus a Repulsor. So you're maybe pushing a little bit heavy on the shooting fire support. So you could definitely benefit more from Sons of Sanguinius if you manage to get another jump unit in here that does damage, be it Sanguine Guard, be it Vanguard Veterans. Probably at the moment the meta choice is Death Company. So this list could possibly benefit from like a 5-man squad of Death Company. Yeah, do you know what? DTM, I know what you're saying. The captain is good, but if this was me, I would drop a squad of Inceptors, right, 130 points. I would drop that captain and replace him with a biologist, which would give me enough points for another squad of Death Company, a 5-man squad. Because as much as I think Inceptors coming in with 3 inches is good, I think the redundancy of more units of Death Company, because each unit of Death Company just does so much damage. Like if you compare the unit, yes, the Death Company unit have to charge, but they can be rapid ingress. And I just think the Death Company units are an absolute missile. They're one of the best units that Blood Angels have right now. I know he's got one, but I think like my list, I always kind of felt like I wanted 2. Flame regressors don't roll to hit, and the captain, yeah, okay. But okay, so DTM would also swap one squad of Inceptors to try. So the other way you could get this Inceptors out for a Death Company would be to change one of these Ballistus Dreadnoughts to a Predator Destructor. So if this was me, I'd change that Ballistus Dreadnought there to Predator Destructor. I'd drop the squad of Inceptors, add 5 Death Company. Job's done. That list is stronger. But overall, I don't think it's a bad list at all. Especially if it's someone that's not played in literally 3rd edition. Trying to think. I think I played 2nd edition in like 2nd edition was 97, so yeah, it's like 25 years plus. So someone coming back, Alexander, good job on the list. I enjoyed it. I think it's good. Minor changes to improve it. Okay, Brandon is also running Sons of Sanguinius. Chaplain with a jump pack ×2, Judicar Lamartis. So this is going to be Death Company heavy. And then probably some Blade Guard, I guess. We've got an Impulsor. We've got 2 squads of Jump Intercessors. We've got the 6 Blade Guard. We've got 20 Death Company, a 10, a 5, and a 5. That'll be Lamartis, the Chaplain, the Infiltrators, the Double Outriders, which is pretty cool, and the Scouts. And then double Vindicator. You know, this list is so similar to my tournament list. Like, there's so many similarities. Like, my tournament list had 400 points of shooting. This has 350. My tournament list had 2 Jump Intercessors, 2 Outriders, Infiltrators, and Scouts. They're all the same. My tournament list had double Death Company like this. Again, it's exactly the same. So it's really only these 2 squads that were different. In my tournament list, I took Sanguinary Guard rather than that 10-man Death Company, and I took Company Heroes instead of this Blade Guard squad. And then obviously I took Dante rather than Lamartez, and a Captain rather than a Judicar. So I would say, like, side by side, this list compared to my tournament list is like 80%. And I think it's kind of like, you know, tomato. So, like, you could literally pick either of these lists, and they are really strong, very useful Blood Angels lists. The one thing that I like, having played Vindicator tanks, and then having played Predator Destructors and Ballistus Dreadnoughts, is Vindicator tanks 24-inch range can be problematic in certain matchups or maps, whereas Predator Destructors and Ballistuses will do less damage than the Vindicators, but they are able to just chip away damage from 48 inches, which I think is kind of meaningful. Because if you come up against certain armies like Imperial Knights, sorry, not Imperial Knights, Chaos Knights, and you can just pluck away at the Knights at 48 inches, they don't have all that much that can hurt your vehicles at 48 inches. They have maybe some autocannons, but autocannons into vehicles is really inefficient. Whereas, like, the Vindicators will need to be within 24, which means you're inside Melta range, and then those Knights with their Melta guns will make Vindicators cry, because for some reason Chaos Knights got to keep strength 12 on their Melta guns, where everybody else's Melta guns went to strength 9. So, but I mean, this is super similar to my Blood Angels list. So, Blood Angels Commander, this is my first list, and I'm posting it. I've watched you for about 6 months, and I've just started in 10th edition. I am starting to play more, and I really like your list, and I've based a lot of... Okay, that makes sense, because I was going to say, like, 80% of this list is my list. I'm 50-50 on Vindicators versus the Predators and Ballistus with the range versus power. I should have read this first, because I literally just wrote the exact, like... We were thinking the same things. I have the Blade Guard and the Judicar for soaking damage with an Impulsor for midfield and the Impulsor for doing actions. I can't justify the price of Sanguinary Guard in game versus the Death Company, so Lamartez it is. Let me know your criticism. I think, personally, Lamartez plus 10 Death Company at 400 points versus Dante and the Death Company at 430 points. I think Lamarta's and the Death Company is the more accepted / better choice. But there is some situations where those Sanguinary Guard plus Dante are better, right? Like, when you're fighting orcs, I would say the Sanguinary Guard are probably better because -1 to hit and -1 to wound for orcs in melee, when you already have a 2-up save, which you get Armor of Contempt, is obnoxious. The orcs really struggle into the Sanguinary Guard. If you're fighting Death Guard and they have a Mortarion there, making it so that because Mortarion has an ability that means he can ignore your -1 damage ability on Lamartas. So again, against Death Guard, you could argue Dante and the Sanguinary Guard are better. Hello, Disgusting and Resilient. Every time we talk about Death Guard, it doesn't matter. We just need to say it's like Beetlejuice. You just say Death Guard 3 times, and the Disgusting and Resilient podcast is here. Feels like the Vindies need a strategic reserve. Yeah, they possibly do. I think Vindicators and Gladius are really strong. In Sons of Sanguinius, they can be a little bit hard. Right, hold on. I got a little daughter shouting to me. I'll be right back. Yes, sweetheart. Okay, I just need to change your storybook. I love the surprise Vindicator Deep Strike. Yeah, I mean, I guess if you Oath of Moment a target and bring in the Vindicators, it can be pretty useful. And the Vindicators have got Strength 14, which is also pretty useful. Yeah, but let me get back to Lamartas plus the Death Company are better in a lot of situations. But here's the thing, if you're going to Rapid Ingress that unit every game, and in my tournament list I did, every single game, Dante and the Sanguinary Guard were Rapid Ingressed. I think Dante and Sanguinary Guard coming in from Rapid Ingress, usually always in a concealed position, usually always able to jump forward 12 inches and shoot 11 Melta pistols and then charge something with +1 to charge. And they have OC2, so OC22 for whatever reason, if they don't manage to flip the objective. I think it's still good, but I understand why most people run Lamartas and 10 Death Company. I got bored of running Lamartas and 10 Death Company, quite honestly. And because it's the best choice. And I kind of think it's boring when the best choice is the best choice for... Well, 10th edition came out probably 13 months ago. So if you tell, because I only run one army, if I have to run the same unit for 13 months, that gets boring. So that's why I'm running Dante and the Sanguinary Guard, and I don't care that they're not the most meta pick. I think they're still a somewhat decent pick. And I actually can't stop winning games with the list that I've built. I think it's one of the best Blood Angels lists I've ever built, maybe. So, cool, it is what it is. This is a good list. You need to play it, but when you play it a few times, Brandon, have a thought on are you having trouble getting damage out of the Vindicators? And then go look at some of my games that I play on the channel, and some of the games that I've played. I was gonna say I could show you a picture. Yeah, I'm going to show you a picture real quick of the GT that I was at. I'll show you a picture of the final games. This was 4-0. This is the video I need to actually make, like, next week or whatnot. So, like, this would have been the final game. Yeah, the final game against the Orcs. So this is what the table looked like. I think this might have been the end of the game. If it's not the end of the game, this was like deep into turn 4, right? This is what the table looked like. Predator completely unwounded. Predator completely unwounded. Ballistus Dreadnought completely unwounded. This was my side of the table over here. You've got the infiltrators. You've got a squad of scouts over here holding this as well. So it's just like, against this, the final game of the tournament, because these guys have superior range, they're completely safe. And if these guys are completely safe for the entire game, then I guess what you're saying is I get 6 las cannons. There's 5 turns in a game, right? So that's 30 las cannon shots. I get... Usually I'm using Oath of Moment on their target as well. I get 4 autocannons times 2, so that's 8 times 5 turns again. So I get 30 las cannon shots, I get like 40 autocannon shots, and I get like 10 crack missiles. And there's no return fire at those units, because everybody's having to deal with all the jump units and the outriders and the assault intercessors and stuff. Like, if you ignore those units every game, and some people obviously have to, they will win me the game. And that's probably one of the reasons that I like the list that I built so much, is like, that fire support is super cheap. But if you break it down to the fact that it's like 6 las cannons a turn, 8 autocannons a turn, 2 crack missiles a turn, if you do the maths on that, that's quite a lot of damage that's completely safe. Okay, we're moving on to the final list for tonight's show. We've got 37 people watching. We only have 26 likes. So if you guys get 2 seconds tonight, if you could please like the stream, I'd appreciate it. Alright, Cameron apparently has submitted a Sons of Sanguinius list before, but this one has big improvements. And he's bench Mephiston. So hopefully there's a big improvement. We've got the Judiciar, we've got Lamartes, we've got Librarian and Terminator Armor with Artisan of War. I actually kind of love this combo. So for anyone that doesn't know, the Artisan of War gives the Librarian and Terminator Armor 1 extra AP, and he is interesting in that if you do if you do a hazardous on a smite, he gets D6 shots, it'll be strength 6, it'll be -3, it'll be D3, and he gets sustained 1 as well while he's leading units, so your smite becomes sustained 1. And then in melee, he also becomes strength 8 -2 on the charge, again sustained 1. So it's a somewhat decent. It's probably the best use of a Blood Angels enhancement. We don't see enhancements being used very often for Blood Angels. Todd says, I've had the same thing with my backline shooting dudes. Seems like a good combo with Blood Angels, aggressive jump pack range. I think you're right, Todd. I remember in, I think it was 9th edition, one of the game, when I first started playing 9th edition, I think I had 2 Redemptor Dreadnoughts, and I think the idea, this was when the plasma cannons on the Redemptor Dreadnoughts were pretty good, right? AP 4, 3 damage, strength 9, that was when all the vehicles were less than toughness 9. And my thought was the Redemptor Dreadnoughts were good because they were cheap and they were -1 damage. And it was very much a case of the opponent would either need to focus on the Redemptor Dreadnoughts, and if they did that, then my melee units will take over the game and win me the game. If they ignore the Redemptor Dreadnoughts, ignore the Redemptor Dreadnoughts at your peril, because I'm getting 2d6, so an average of 7 shots per turn at strength 9, -4, 3 damage. If you leave that alone for the entire game, you're telling me I'm getting 35 shots at strength 9, -4, 3 damage. That's over 100 damage right there at -4. Can you afford to ignore that for an entire game? I mean, it gives your opponent difficult options. I played Death Guard this week. I think he lost everything except Mortarion. No, Mortarion died, so I think he lost his entire army except a Plague Burst Crawler. And he had a bunch of armor. He had 3 PBCs, he had Mortarion, he had 2 Annihilators, but my cheap fire support just kill them all over the course of the game, because he wasn't really shooting my fire support. Like, he's shooting my assault intercessors, he's shooting my death company, he's not shooting my fire support. Leave them alive at your own peril, I guess. So double assault intercessors with jump packs. You've got the 6 blade guard, you've got 15 death company marines, you've got a lancer, you've got a squad of hellblasters. They're questionable to me. I'm not sure they're that strong for Blood Angels. You've got outriders, you've got a redemptor dreadnought, you've got a squad of scouts times 2, and you've got a terminator squad. They'll be the librarian. Okay, so the blade guard and the impulsor, the death company and the terminators in reserve, the second squad of death company as a missile, the hellblasters as additional fire support. Yeah, I'm not sure one squad of hellblasters is really that point effective, or just that effective, I guess. Assault intercessors, jump packs and outriders supply early pressure. The redemptor and lancer for anti-tank. I'm not sure the redemptor's that good at anti-tank anymore, though, right? Because its plasma cannon still only is strength 9. One scout for the home objectives screening after infiltrating early game. Second squad, I'm hoping to move around the map. I've been forced to rethink this since the Land Raider went up in points. I would probably say infiltrators for your home field objective make your home field objective super safe. So I'd probably look at getting some infiltrators. I'd probably look at dropping the hellblasters. I don't think they're that impactful. And then I guess in a similar vein to like a gladiator lancer, you're looking for anti-tank here, then I don't think a redemptor dreadnought is anti-tank. If you're looking for anti-tank, take dedicated anti-tank. I think that would be... I mean, you could take a ballistus dreadnought. Trying to think what we got. You probably want to swap out the hellblasters for infiltrators. Gives you back 15 points. You probably want to reduce the... I don't think a redemptor dreadnought is anti-tank, so that would give you like 225 points. Yeah, like... I hate to say it, but for me, like, the most... With 225, plus if you just drop the Lancer... Well, you need to keep the Lancer, so you get a second Lancer. You have 85 points left over. You can have another unit Outriders. There's not much else anti-tank, but I think double Gladiator Lancer is actually okay anti-tank. I think a single Gladiator Lancer is not that good because it's only 2 shots. I think double Lancer with the rerolls that they have 4 shots. I feel like with 4 shots you're likely to at least make them make a few saves. One or two get through. McFadden says converting 5 jumpy Vanguard vets for fun and style. Is it suboptimal to run 5 of them in 1k games? I think if you're running 5 Vanguard vets, I just wouldn't attach any characters to them, but I think they're fine to be running 5s. My members asked me if I could review your game against Colin and sort of evaluate his decisions and play against you. If you live near Scotland, dude, you're more than welcome to come on the channel. And if you don't live in Scotland, you could fly to Scotland and come on the channel. I'd love to have a game. Where do you live, Disgustingly Resilient? I think Colin made a few mistakes, though. And you've got to remember that me and Colin play each other all the time. And I think, like, Colin didn't shoot my tanks one time in that entire game this week. I don't think... I think he shoot... you know what, I'm lying. I think he shot the Ballistus Dreadnought when he pulled Bring It Down in turn 3 or something. But at that point, the damage was already kind of done. I'm in Manchester. Well, if you're ever on your way up north, you're more than welcome to come on the channel for a game, just so you know. Or get yourself, come to our GT next summer, Disgustingly Resilient. Like, make a weekend of it, and if you come like a day early, we'll get you on the channel a day early. Good evening, Marius. How you doing? Yeah, I think the problem I'm having with this list is I don't think Redemptor Dreadnoughts are anti-tank. I guess it's anti-tank if you get close into melee combat. But, like, I don't know if Redemptor Dreadnoughts can really... I don't know if I feel like They're expensive, though. They're like 210 points. I don't really know why they're so expensive. I don't think they're that good for 210 points. Marius, did you run Double Redemptor at the event? Or am I completely wrong there? So I think if this was me, I would lose the Hellblasters, get some Infiltrators, lose the Redemptor, because I have 3 fully painted Redemptor Dreadnoughts, but I literally never put them on the table. They're 210 points because Iron Storm was a thing. I thought they were maybe 210 points because of Black Templars as well. But maybe that's another reason. You ran triple Redemptor, and what's the like, the Redemptors must not be that strong, right? Like, they're just like, you've played a bunch. Like, I don't think I ever played them at 210 points. I think I played them when they were like 195 and was like, these things are too expensive at 195. Maybe if they had like a 5-up invuln, I might play it, but like 210 points for a unit like that that's only got like toughness 10 and 12 wounds, even though it's got -1 damage, just seems madness. So yeah, I think I would lose the Redemptor and get another. I mean, maybe I go double Gladiator Lancer and I go for a unit of Outriders. So I've got 2 units of Scouts, 2 units of Outriders, 2 units of Assault Intercessors. But at that point, I feel like maybe you're missing 1 more damaging unit. So I think, like, you need the Infiltrators, you need a second Lancer, or a Predator Annihilator, or something of that nature. But then I think the struggle is trying to find out what you do with the rest of your points. Like, maybe you just have another unit of Assault Jump Intercessors. Or maybe there's points here to fit in some Vanguard Veterans. They did work, and the triple was hard to shift. Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. I think they're maybe just overcosted. I don't feel like I find them exciting, though. You know, like, I get they're good in melee. I don't think they'll probably ever get to melee to use their melee, so I feel like their melee is kind of irrelevant. So then you're talking about what do they do fire support-wise? Well, they have D6 plus 1 shots from a plasma. I think if this was normalized to like 4 shots, they might be attractive to me, but one of the worst things you can do in tournament play is have to spend CP to reroll the number of shots for a weapon. So, like, if you can avoid at all doing that, you should probably avoid doing it. So, yeah, I mean, Redemptor Dreadnoughts for me are just not exciting. They have some Storm Bolters. They have an Onslaught Cannon, which I think the Onslaught Cannon got kind of worse because it's got no AP on it. So, 8 shots, hitting on 3s means, again, statistically, like 1 devastating wound. I really don't see them as being a... Yeah, I just don't see them. I don't see how Vindicator tanks can be 175. Because I think the Vindicator tanks were like 205, or maybe they were just like 195 or something, and I still think they were better than Redemptor Dreadnoughts. I'm not a fan of them. So swap them out. Good evening, Highland Phoenix. You're literally tuned in for the last data sheet of the night. How are you doing? But I think that's it for this week's tactics video, or this week's army show. If you want to get your list on next week, you know where to put it. Put it in the comment section after the stream ends. Hey, it was your first event. Everybody, you only get better at tournaments from losing games. And trust me, I have lost a lot of important games at tournaments. So I've lost a lot of I had to lose a lot of games at tournaments to become good at tournaments. Yes, this week I'm not actually sure what's happening. I need to try and find an opponent for Wednesday night. But next week, on the 8th, I'm going to be fighting Garen. So this Wednesday, hopefully I've got a battle report. If not, I'm going to be just making some more intercessors. I'm trying to make like 15 of them. Is it difficult to advise any other list than your GT winning one? No one, no one submitted my GT list. The last guy had submitted a list that was like 80% similar. You're more than welcome, McFatson. Thanks so much for the super chat earlier. I do really appreciate it. But yeah, so we're gonna have a rematch of the GT final on the 8th. So that should be fun. And also I'll need to be at the top of my game, I guess. To try and I was gonna say, when you lose a game, you learn more. So Garen probably has learned. I don't know, because it was actually a draw game, right? Like, when we left the event, he thought he'd lost by 1 point, but when we look back at it, it was a draw game. So I don't know what I don't know if I can beat the orcs again. We'll try anyway. Yeah. It was Garen was playing Bully Boy Orcs, and I think he had 2 trucks of knobs, which he was fighting on death with all the time. And then 2 units of mega knobs. One was in the teleporter and one was in a battle wagon. And then he had a 3rd truck with some sort of shooting unit in it. I never played them before, but the hello David, how you doing? Or am I going to give him the trophy if he beats me? Probably not. Will I be upset if he beats me? Yeah, probably. But I mean, it's good to play good players, right? Blood Angels players don't get to complain about fight on death. I mean, he can do it for 1 CP, I guess. Does that make any difference? I was going to say something else. Oh yeah, did you guys see the Robert Downey Jr. news this weekend? I can't believe it. That's the only other thing that happened to me this weekend that surprised me. What's a good offhand for the Vanguard? Hand flamers or shields? Shields is probably the best or the most meta way to play the Vanguards. Yes. We are I was going to say we're Victor Von Doom. I don't know how that's going to work. DTM says he's excited to see Hollywood fail for the 4th. Hollywood, they do get a chill free card there on Hollywood to make the same mistakes over and over, don't they? Cool. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching today. I thought Robert Downey Jr. was looking really old, man. I didn't actually realize that he's 59 now. How much will he get paid for that? Probably like 25 million minimum. Just Google what his salary was in it. Can you do it? I mean, what was RDJ's salary in Endgame? He earned 20 million upfront salary and 75 million total income. Jesus. See, guys, we are all just here down in the slums. 75 million for one, like, how many scenes was he even in Endgame? I mean, I guess he was in a decent amount of scenes, but like 75 million? There's a really interesting interview with Will Smith, actually, that says, the thing is, like, when you've got that much money, you can't spend 75 million, right? You can buy a nice house, you can buy a nice car, you can go on a bunch of holidays, but you still got like 50 million left over, even if you manage to spend 25 of it. So what actually tells you is, like, no one needs this amount of money. the most important thing in life is like your family and your memories, right? Or your friends or whatever, right? Like, yeah. That's just me trying to justify the fact that he made 75 million for one role. The MCU needs its star power back. Yeah, it does. It needs something because it's been very muted. No spoilers about Deadpool, but I'm trying to get babysitting so I can go see Deadpool. So hopefully, no spoilers about Deadpool till I've seen it. I'm going to try and see it in like 10 days' time. Because my mum's on holiday and she's like the only person that will babysit my kids for me. So, cool. Have a great Sunday night. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you sometime this week for sure. I'm glad you enjoyed the tactics video. If I'm not, yeah, I was going to say, if there's no battle report this week, I'll be hobbying Wednesday night. But then next week, I'll put the stream up in advance to remind everyone it's Thursday, and we'll get the rematch of the GT final, which I think should be a good stream. Spoiler for Deadpool. Deadpool is in it. Okay. I can deal with. I was going to say, you could have done one better DTM. You could have said, spoiler for Deadpool 3, Wolverine is in it, huh? Alright, I'm going to go before someone spoils Deadpool. Have a great evening. Thanks so much for watching, guys. We'll see you soon.